Okay, so welcome everybody. And in the last class, we talked about some exponential rules, and these rules are really, really important key for a lot of the concepts to be, and in order to understand and then work on those questions. So whenever you try some of these questions on your own, and make sure you guys are having the flashcard, and then have a flashcard, and then write down those all things on there, and that was just much easier for you to answer these questions. Okay, so we looked into some of those questions, and we also did in some like techniques. Like for example, if you look at it, the first question right here, we need to do it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 steps up there. But in this case, in one single step, we can get through those. So those are the techniques you need to catch faster. And the notes is provided to you, so please take go check back again on your portal, and then just go back and then work on those questions. The faster you, and like the more times you do it, so that you're going to pick up the speed. And then our ultimate goal is pick up the speed. Okay, and not just to, if you're taking like long time, there is no point. That's the our goal. So we want to pick up the speed, and then just do it accurately too. Is speed and accuracy. Those two will get you the more scores up there. Okay, so we'll continue with a little bit of more exponents today. And we did a couple of questions in the last class, but again, we're going to go more questions. And also we're going to touch base today some radical functions. Radicals means is nothing but square roots. So the square is also another important concepts that we need to cover. But let's try one or two questions here, and then we can jump onto the radical functions also. Okay, so I'm going to start with the, oh yeah, this is a good one. So in the last exponential functions, again, as I mentioned to you, keep the formulas, okay? The formulas play an important role in the in solving those problems out there, okay? So make sure you keep those formulas with you guys. Okay, so let's go over this question quickly. How about Ara, can you please read this question for us?
If 2 to the power of x equals 10, what is the value of 5 times 2 to the power of 2x plus 2 to the power of x?
Okay, go ahead and then give it a try this one and put your answer on the chat box. Just give it a quick try. If you don't know, it's not a big deal, but I will go over that anyways, but give it a try first. Okay, just to give it a try. Okay, all right, awesome. Getting a lot of questions out there. I see a different answers though. And I think it's whenever we have a different answers, it's a good question that we can talk about this one right away. Okay. All right. So let's look into this one. Eyes on the board, everybody. So that way you can get an idea. So whenever you can see this type of questions, right? Even though exponents little, confuses you a little bit more, but I, right here is 2 to the x is 10. And just to make it easy for you, what you can do, take this value, okay? Plug it in there, because you don't need to solve anything for x first. So don't try to solve for the x before that. Just plugged in, this 2x means is nothing but it's 10. So I'll take this 10, plug it in here. Okay, that's fast. Okay, so once I do that, it's 5 is 2 to the x. But again, this is not 2 to the x. It's 2 to the 2x. That is really important that you need to be very careful with this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write it down, some couple of steps for you to understand. and I can tell you what's a little faster way of doing this one. Okay, now I'll take this one since I have a 2 to the x, so I'm going to write it down. This one is 2 to the x and then to the second exponent plus 2 to the x. Now I know this is 2 to the x is nothing but 10, and then the second exponent plus 2 to the x means 10. You guys understand this one so far? So I'm replacing 2 to the x with the 10. Now what I can do is 10 squared. In here, you need to do the exponents first, just like Penda's rules. Okay, so on that rules, this is 10 squared, that's 100, plus this is 10. This is 500 plus 10, that's 510. Okay, so that's the right answer for this one. Good to go. So these are the questions that is not difficult, but it's logic and also the rules behind. That's the main important things we're looking. Let's say if you're doing the same question on the test, and then how can you work it out a little faster? So this is the way you gotta do. Eyes on the board. So since I see my question is 2 to the 2x and is there, so I can write this one 2 to the x and then second exponent means whatever it is I need to do second exponent. So this is 10. 10 squared is 100. 100 times 5 is 500 plus 10, 510. That's what you in your brain need to be working faster, and that way you can get the best scores. Then like best faster answer there. Okay, so that's one of the good questions that is always there. I see this is another one. Have your pencil paper ready, and then don't even hesitate to answer the questions. Even if it is a wrong, that's not a big deal, because for me, you try. That's the priority for us. Okay, even if you get a wrong answer, it's not a problem. But if you don't try, that's a no. Okay. Okay, next one. Let's see. Aryan, can you please read this one for us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Right. If 9 to the power of x equals 25, what is the value of 3 to the power of x minus 1?
Mhm. Okay, go ahead and then give a try this one quickly. See what you guys think, and then I will go over this problem with the little techniques. Also, as you guys are working on that one, I am happy to see some of you guys are putting that study log, and this is what you guys need to please put that study log so that way you can keep track of time, like how much time you studied. I got some timings from Saket, good work, Pranjal, and Faizan, and Bhavani. So guys, keep doing that, and then the other people also try to put that track, because that way you will know, like, hey, last week how much time did I spend on this? Did I spend too much time? Okay, I need to cut it out and focus more on my, calculus or algebra 2, pre-calculus, whatever you guys are doing. Um, but if you guys are see like, okay, oh man, I just put only half an hour, that's not right, so I need to put some more time out there. So it makes right decisions when you guys are working on these steps towards the so for your goal of the SATs or PSATs, because it's important to, I understand is you have a lot of things to do in school, and as a teacher I give a lot of homework every day pretty much, and on top of that you have 6 subjects to work on. But so we need to say get something, we need to do a little bit of more work. Okay, all right, if you don't know it, you can just write it down. I don't know, I'm fine with that, but just give it a try and put your answer there. Okay, let's see, I see some I don't know, it's fine. Alrighty, okay, let's go over this one. Let's see some answers coming up. Okay. All right, so first of all, when I see this question, it's a little confusing, because the reason behind is the way of the question is asked here. So it's 3 to the x minus 1. Probably my brain is telling like, hey, how about if I find the x? That might take a little bit more longer because you need to apply, if you go to the algebra 2, anti-logarithms and all those things. But we don't need that. So eyes on the board, everybody. Stop writing in the eyes on the board so that way you don't miss the topic or the concept. So in this one, obviously, if you look at it, 9 to the exponent, but I don't have 9 here. I have 3. So if I bring this one towards 3, that might be easier. So what I'm going to do, 9 to the x, I can write a 3 to the second exponent and then x. Agree? Because 3 squared is 9. That's 25. Okay. Now, what I can do on this question is I'm going to switch these two guys. So I'm going to write a 3 to the x and then second exponent. And then 25, I can write it, it's like 5 square. Agree with me? Now, if I look at it carefully, square and hit square there, my base has to be the same, which means 3 to the x is nothing but, it's 5. If I get rid of that 2 there. So 3 to the x is 5. Now I got the 3 to the x, now I can look at it and then plug it in here. But one thing, you gotta be very careful with this one. I'd see a lot of kids do mistakes. 3 to the x minus 1 means it's not just 5 minus 1, okay? Remember that. What does this means is, this means, to understand, 3 to the x times 3 to the x, 3 to the minus 1, okay? Because when you have same base, you add them, right? The rule number 1 from the last class. So it's nothing but 3 to the x here, but this negative exponent, I can bring it down, which is going to be make a positive exponent. Rule number, I don't remember, but yeah, rule number something, like when you have a negative exponent. Okay, now I can bring this my 5 here, this back up here, so that gives me 5 over 3, this one. Okay, so have a look, make sure you guys understand this one.
Mr. R.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question. When okay, so let's just say you have like, so you know how you have 3 to the x power times 3 to the negative 1 power.
Mhm.
You have, so like like the base will always be the same because the bases are the same.
That's right.
So let's just say you have like 3 to the 5th power times 4 to the 1st power. Then would you multiply the bases, or you know what I mean?
If it is, yeah, when you have a different bases, you cannot add them. You cannot
Right.
add them. Okay. It
Okay.
only applies when you have same bases.
Okay.
Okay? Yeah.
Thanks.
Aryan, I mean, sorry, Rian.
Yeah, so when you wrote the 3 to the x minus 1 as
Mhm.
3x times 3 to the negative 1, do we like just distribute the 3 to like the exponents? Like,
Yeah, that's right. Basically, you can multiply the exponents out there too. Repeat it one more time. Your question probably I might not be answering right away.
yeah, I got it. So I'm just making sure if
Oh,
distributing works or not.
oh yes, yes. Distributing works. Okay, that's
Yeah.
definitely a good question out there. So if you're done with this, I mean, if you still have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And in case if you understand this one, I'm good to go with this one. I'll put another question you guys can work on. But if you still questions on this one, please don't hesitate to ask. I mean, everybody's here to learn, and there's no simple question, or there's no like complicated question. It's, any question is question. You don't know it, it's question. It's good to ask. Okay, so try this one, next one, if you understand this one, last one. But if you still have a question, please let me know. Okay, I see some answers coming up. That's good. That's good. Again, SAT, PSAT, the questions are not hard. They're tricky. If you need to have a good concepts, making sure you understand the basics, then these questions won't be as difficult at all. Okay, and also learn those little techniques. How can you do these questions faster? That's all. If you have those two in mind, and these questions are pretty easy. Now, let's see. I see some answers out there, eyes on the screen, everybody, so that we can get an idea behind this. So this is a lot of misconception in on when the kids do these problems, and then this they think is like, they see like, okay, three of them, they may choose so many different answers. Like sometimes they choose the C, or sometimes choose A. It's a lot of crazy. But what is the important thing is trying to understand what's happening behind. Okay. So now if I look at it, this one, first of all, is on the board. So 3 to the n plus 3 to the n plus 3 to the n. Okay. Now let's say they're all same terms. Let's say if I have a plus a plus a. What do I write it? So this is basically 3a. Agree, everybody? Because combining like terms. Okay. Now same logic. I'm going to use it here, so I can write it 3a. Good. Everybody clear on that? I use the same logic of the like terms, combining like terms. So 3a's, I got that, and then 3a. Now, if I look at it, rule number one says whenever you have same bases, add the exponents. I can keep the base, add the exponents, which is n plus 1. So your right answer is this. Okay, so it's a lot of these questions can be confused a lot. Okay, so be careful with these type of questions. Yeah, Ara, go ahead.
How did you get the 3 to the power of 1?
Oh, any number you can write it. Let's say 5 means 5 to the 1 power. Okay, so any number you can write a power of 1. It's default.
But like, shouldn't it be just 3 to the power of m?
3 to the power of m. I use the rule number 1. When you have same basis, you add the exponents. Remember that? So like, for example, if I have 3 to the first power and 3 to the second exponent, how much is this one? 3 to the third exponent. Agree with me?
Yeah.
Because 3 to the 1 means 3, 3 to the second means, now this is 3 to the third exponent. It's the same thing. I just did that, like adding the exponents. Keep the base and then add the exponents.
So if you did 3 to the power of m plus 3 to the power of m, it would still be 3 to the power of 1 plus times 3 to the
That's
power of m?
1 plus m, basically, or you can write it n plus 1. It is the same thing. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And on the chat box, is there any rule or tip for adding terms? No, there is no rule on adding terms. It's on the exponents. Exponents only how the formulas multiplying. Okay. And that's the reason I'm telling you, for this topic, have those rules on a little flashcard. Put them all, everything in one place, and try these problems, because the more drill down those rules, the more easier this lesson is going to be. Okay, so good.
And when we got 3m, why did we multiply by 3 and not like made it an exponent?
Why didn't we multiply them? Because they're adding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you add them, it's basically combining like terms.
Okay.
You agree with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Pranjal, please.
I still don't really understand why we had the 3 to the 1 power.
3 to the
Like,
1
why
power.
would we?
Mhm.
Why could you just explain why we would like do that instead of just doing like the a plus a plus a that you showed on the side?
Yeah. So it's a basically, okay. So if you still have a trouble with, just look at this one, everybody, in case if you understand and work on the problem that is coming up there, okay? But eyes on the screen so that we can get an idea. So if I look at it, and this is 3 to the m, 3 to the n, 3 to the n. So they're like terms. So there are 3 of them, just like a plus a plus a, which is 3a, right? So I write down this a still, agree? Same logic here. So there are 3 of those. So I write 3, and then this is a, whatever it is. Okay. Now, but I know is 3 means it's like 3 to the power 1. And also this is times, because 3a means 3 times a. Agree? Now 3 times a, so that's 3 times 3 to the m, which is same as like same basis. I add the exponents here. So I just add it 1 plus m. It's the same as the n plus 1.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is good questions. You know, these are the questions they ask you on the test. And a lot of the, it's not difficult. They're tricky because you need to have a good concept behind it. Okay. Awesome. That's good. Let's try this one and then we can move on to the radicals next. Let me see if I can ask one of you guys to read. Others, can you please read this question for us?
If 8 to the power of 1/6 is equal to 2 to the power of negative 1/12 to the power of negative n, what is the value of n?
Okay. All right. Yara?
I was just confused about the previous one. Like, how did you get like 3 to the power of 1? Like, instead of just like 3 to the power of m?
Oh no, 3 to the power of 1 is the default. Any number you can write at power 1.
Okay.
Okay, that's the default. Let's say if I have, say, 5 to the 1, basically. This is like 1 there. Okay. All right, so this is 6. If we can't see, this is 1/6. And this is 1/12. Let's try this question and then we can move to the articles a little bit.
Okay.
This one is a calc question. If you need to use a calculator, you're more than happy to use a calculator. Also, when we are practicing these problems, or when I'm teaching you some of the concepts, and have your calculator next to you, and if it is a cal part question, I'll let you guys know it's a cal part question. Please happy to use the calculator also, because I want you to get familiar with the calculator that you're going to use on the test. Okay. So same calculator that you're going to use on the test, please have it with you. I don't want you to use your phone as a calculator because you're not allowed to use phones in the testing center. So you can allow to use a calculator. So whichever the calculator you're going to use for the test, get familiar with that. Because sometimes, you can use a calculator, but you don't know where is that function is or the divide function is. And then you're going to spend some couple of seconds and just for looking at, oh, where's the division in this one? So once you're familiar with it, you know what to punch, okay? So please have that practice along with this too. Good to go? Okay, so let's go with this one. So this is a little bit tricky one too. But anyways, first of all, 8 to the 1, 6, and then 2 to the, and we need to find out the n value here. So in order to answer this question, first of all, I can see if I can bring them in a same base. So I want to get a same base. Obviously, 2 is already given to you as a hint. So I'm going to bring the 8 to the base 2. So that means 8, I can write it 2 to the third exponent, because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. And then I write it 1/6. And then this is 2 to the negative 1/12. And I have a negative n. So I can multiply these two. Okay. Let me see. I can use a pointer. So I can multiply these two, because power to the power, you can multiply the power. That is one of the rules in there. Now I'll multiply these two. So what I'm going to get end up with 3 divided by 6, which is half. Okay. That's going to be 2 to the 3 goes in twice, it's half. Same way here, negative times negative is positive, and over 12. And in the exponents, there was a one rule when you have a same base and there it says they're equal. That means your exponents has to be the same. These should be equal too. So what I can write it, it's 1/2 equal n over 12. And you just solve for the n. Okay, and cross multiply it, butterfly method. So 12 over 2, that is 6. And it's 6. Okay. Okay. Just be careful. Sometimes it's easy to do mistakes. We gotta be very careful with these questions.
Sir R.
Yep. Mhm.
You know how for the 2 cubed and 1/6, like you did 6 divided by 3.
Mm-hmm.
So for the other one, why did you do like hold on, how do I explain it? Like n divided. Wait, what did you divide for the second one?
The second one I multiplied.
Oh, you
Just
multiplied. Okay.
fractions. Yeah, multiplying fractions. Let's say the rule is says here. This is what is the rule is. If I have a to the n, I multiply m and n. That's the rule. You multiply these two. So right here is a 3 and then 1/6. So I multiply those two. 3 times 1 is 3, and then 1 times 6 is 6. That's basically technically 3 over 6, which is 1/2. Okay. Awesome. So that's good. So that's pretty good. And you just keep practicing. Okay. It's not, I understand, like, we're just meeting once a week and we have a lot of things to cover at the same time. And you have a little bit of time. Just make sure you guys practice also. So that way, and we can cover more concepts too. So that's the exponential rules. The next one we're going to look into is radicals. And this is another topic you always check on the algebra 2 pretty close to. So the law of radicals. So the radicals is nothing but a square root. Radical means it's a square root sign, basically. Okay. Now, if I say anytime the radicals, it's a simple way of saying is the square roots, or you can write an nth radical. Let's say if I have n radical x, I can write an x to the 1 over n. Means if I have a cube root of, let's say 5, this means 5 to the 1/3. Remember this, okay? That's part of the radical signs. Now, another rule on this one, this is first rule, and then second rule on the radicals is if I have nth radical x and I multiply with the nth radical y, I can keep that nth radical and then multiply inside them, x and y. Same rule number 3, nth root of radical x over nth radical y. I can keep that nth root of x over y. We can do that. Okay. So these are the 3 rules on the radicals. Pretty much we use them. Okay. So make sure you make a flashcards for these two, and that way it makes easier your life. Okay. We'll be a little faster. Also, I'm hoping you guys already know some of the squares and square roots, and that makes life easier too. Uh, to I'm gonna write it down a little bit. If you can memorize them, that will be good. Let's see. So this is the number and square. It's just a square root goes back again there. So let's say it's 1, it's 1, 2, 4, 3 is 9, 4 is 16, 5 squared 25, 6 36, 7 49, 8 64, 9 81, again 10, 100, 121, 144, 169, 196, 225. Okay, 256. So a couple of numbers. It's easier if you remember these numbers like squares and square roots. 17, 289, 18, 324. So it's pretty good. Up to 18, 20, that's totally good to go. You don't need to memorize everything. Just try to memorize these. It helps you to get the answers faster. Now, when it comes to this radicals, sometimes you see a question like radical 72. This one is not a perfect square root. Okay, 72 is not a perfect square root. Let's say if I find square root of 81, that's 9, easy. But this one is not. So what you got to do, probably you guys did this one 4th or 5th grade, kind of like prime factors, 2 times 36, you know, whatever this is, 6 times 6, so 2 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 2 and 3. It's just like a prime factors, but you don't need to go all the way down there, but I'll tell you little easy ones. So you look for the group of 2s. Basically 2 times 3 is 6, radical 2. Same way, if I write it down a little faster, 72, I can write it, I know I can see that 2 times 36, right? 36 times 2. Now, watch me carefully. This one is just a rule number 2. Okay, rule number 2 says, if I have a square root of something, I can split them like that. So same, I'm gonna do it here. I can write a radical 36 and then radical 2. This is, 6, and this is radical 2. It's the same thing. Okay. So see if you guys are good to go with this one. I know it's a basics, but in case you still have trouble with that, ask me so I can explain it to you. Good to go? All right, so the next question, wait a minute, I need this box. Okay, next question. Let me see. Krishna, can you read this one whenever you get it? This question pops up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Wait. Which of the following is equivalent to 2 root 2 plus 4 root 18 divided by root 2? Okay.
All right, let's just go ahead and try this one. What do you guys think? And I'll explain this one because I want you to struggle first in case if you don't know. But if you know it, it's as good. But it's no calculator questions. see some answers. That's good. And if you have a hard time, just put it, I don't know. That's totally fine too, because I want to know and who gets it and then who did not. So we can focus more. Okay, that's fine. All right, eyes on the screen, everybody, so you can get an idea how to work on these type of problems. Now, first of all, when I look at it, I can see a 2 radical 2 and then 4 radical 18. So the 18 is a little bigger number, so probably I can reduce that. But radical 2 is already a prime number, so you don't need to touch anything on this one. So all I need to do is something for this, so I should get something up there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write it down the radical 18. So I'll write it down here, the problem. Plus 4 radical 18, radical 2. So the 18, I can break it down to 9 times 2, because that's one of the reasons you need to know the perfect squares. If I know that square root of 9 is 3 radical 2. So instead of 18, I can write it 3 radical 2. Good to go. Now what I can do is I can multiply the numbers. So that's going to be a 12 radical 2 and then 2 radical 2 over 2. Radicals works just like variables. I see alike terms. 2 of these and 2 of 12 of those, that's a 14 radical 2 over 2, which is 2 goes in that. So 7 radical 2, right? Okay, I did something mistake. What did I do?
You forgot the radical on the 2.
Radical on the bottom, right? Same. I was looking back and forth. So yeah, so there you go. Thank you. So that's 14. Okay.
Mr. R.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wait, how do you go to 12 radical 2 from 3 radical 2?
12 to 14.
Yeah, like you know how you broke 18 down and you got 3 radical 2.
Yeah.
Oh, you multiplied 3 times 4. Never
That's
mind.
right. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. I can.
That's okay. Again, no stress, okay, guys? If you ask a small, simple question, it's still, I'm okay with that, okay? And the more questions you ask, I'd rather ask the question than keep it in mind as like a struggle with it, like, oh, what did you do? What did you do? Okay? It's okay to ask questions, even if it is as simple or the big thing. And that's the important thing, okay? All right, that's good. And then obviously, when you have these type of questions and you need to pick up the speed will be like this. So let's say if this same question comes under the test, and I know this is 18, 18 could be 9 times, 9 times 2, that is 3 radical 2. 3 radical 2, that's a 12. 12 plus 2, that's 14. 14 and radical 2 cancels out. That's, gets faster. So you got to do the problems in one step, right at the question itself. Okay? Because right now I kind of like wrote all these steps so that way you can understand in my thought process. But if this comes under the test and you're not going to write all these steps, no way. Okay? Everything should be done on the question itself, most of the part. So this is, 2 times 9, 9 means 3, 3 radical 2, and then 3 times 4 is 12, 12 plus 2, that's 14 radical 2, cancel out, and my answer is done, and move on. It should be less than 10, 20 seconds. Should be done to the next question. Okay. And we need to pick up the speed. Only way you can get it is practice. Okay, the next one, Saket. Can you please read this question for us?
If x squared equals to 4 and y squared is equal to 9, then x minus 2 times y plus 3 is not equal to 0. What is the value of x plus y?
So x squared is given 4 and y squared is given 9. And we know that x minus 2 times y plus 3 is not 0. What could be the value of the x plus y? Okay, let's give it a try and see if we can discuss this one. This is the simplest question, but definitely a good question for this one. Yeah, it's a really tricky question though. It's easy. I mean, definitely pretty easy, and but it's tricky one. That's what we need to focus on. Okay. Good, good, good. I see some answers already coming. Good job. Cool. I see some good answers coming up. That's good. Okay. All right, we see a different answers. So that's good. That means it's a good question. A lot of the kids can do mistakes on these type of questions. So it's a good question to discuss. Alrighty. Okay, eyes on the screen, everybody, so that we can get an idea. Now, first of all, when I see this question, x squared is 4, x could be plus or minus 2. You guys know that, right? When you find the square root of anything, it could be a positive, it could be a negative. The reason behind is 2 square is positive 4, negative 2 square is also positive 4. So when you find the square root, it could be plus or minus. Okay. Now, same way, y squared is 9, y is going to be plus or minus 3. It could be a positive, it could be negative. I don't know which one is yet. But one condition we know that this, it's x minus 2, y plus 3 is not equal to 0. That is the key for us to find out which one is right answer or which one should I take. So let's say if I take x is positive 2, agree? So if I take a 2, and this is going to be 2 minus 2, that's 0. I mean, it becomes 0, but it says not equals 0. So x can't be positive 2. So that means x has to be a negative 2. Everybody agree? Understand this logic behind? X can't be positive because if I put that, it's going to be a 0. So x is negative. We got that down. Now on the y, if I put a negative 3, that becomes 0. So y has to be a positive 3. It can be a negative 3. So those are your two answers. Now you need to find out what's x plus y. Okay, so the x plus y means negative 2 plus 3, that's a positive 1. Good. So that's how you decide what values are you going to take, because that condition is given to you. That's really, really holds a key value in it. Okay, good to go. So these type of the questions, you see them on the radicals, and sometimes you get a little bit tough questions also in this one. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me put another question here. Okay, so this one is going to be a little bit tough one. I want you to guys give it a try, and then I will go over with this one with you guys. Okay, let's give it a try. Okay, once the question pops up, let's give a try on this one. Okay, let's try this one. So they gave you is 1 over x plus 2 is radical 2. What could be the x value? This is a little bit challenging one, but let's give it a try. Okay. Okay, let's see some answers coming up. That's good. Okay, I see some different answers. Okay, we'll check it. Okay, all right, let's look at this one as on the board. Okay, no problem. No problem. Okay. Right, eyes on the screen so that we don't miss it, any important stuff in there. So obviously we're solving for the x, right? It's just like a linear equations. You're solving for x. So you want to isolate the x, that's all. Okay, so now I can write it as over 1. Do the cross multiplication or butterfly method, whatever you call. That's x plus 2 times radical 2, it's 1. Agree with me so far? I multiply these two and multiply these two. Then I will need to find out the x value alone. So what I can do for this one is I can divide by radical 2, or you can write x plus 2 equal 1 over radical 2. Can we do that? I just kind of like bring this one down. Now I need only x. I don't need that 2. So I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. Minus 2. Okay. Now, again, we don't have the same denominators. We want to get the same denominators. So I'm going to multiply by radical 2 on both. So I can get the base is radical 2 and 1 minus 2 radical 2. Okay. Now see which one has that. So yeah, I think it's, well, answer is a little bit messed up. It's the, yeah, 1 minus 2 radical 2. Yeah, Arno?
But like you can't really have like a radical at the denominator, right? You need to like
right, rationalize it, right? So let's rationalize it. So if I rationalize that one, so then I need to multiply by radical 2 on top and bottom. So I end up with the 2 on the bottom. Radical 2 times that is radical 2 minus this times this is 2. That's going to be a 4. Does that sounds good or not? Or did I do any mistakes? Oh, wait, let's see. Can you please explain how to solve it one more time? Yes. I'm just checking to see which answers is going to match up. Give me 1 second also. That's good. Let's see. Radical 2, that's 4. Okay, if anybody can help me, that is also a good way to check on this. But again, in a perfect world in school, guys, in the classroom when we teach, we always say, don't have the, what do you call it, the denominators we cannot leave as the radicals. But when it comes to the test, if your answer has the radicals in the denominator, please go choose it, okay? And it's okay. Don't worry about the perfect rule of the not to having the radicals in the denominator. It's okay to, if you have it, some radicals on the denominator. That's not a big deal. Okay.
So C would be, like C would make sense if we.
Yeah, in case if in that case is yes. So 1 minus 2 radical 2 over 2. C is the perfect answer for that one. Okay, but I'm gonna see if I did any mistake on this one. Yeah, I think as a C is the right answer for this one. Okay, because that's the one it makes the closest sense, and then there's also a correct one. Good to go. So let's a little bit quick explanation here in case if you have a little trouble with this. What I did is I cross multiplied and I got this whole thing here. And since I want my mind is I was solving for the x, I don't need the rest of them. So I divided by radical 2 on both sides. Cost is out, I got this. And then plus 2, I take away 2 on both sides, take away 2 and take away 2. I got this. But now I don't have a same denominator, so I need to multiply by radical 2. So I got the radical 2 and radical 2. Keep that radical and then subtract the numerators. 1 minus 2 radical 2. I think that's good enough. And we got the answer already. Okay. And that's basically it is. Good to go. Awesome. Okay. Let's see what else. All right, so let's do one more question on these radicals. Wait, what's time already? 2:54. Why don't we take a break? So, and we can continue more questions on the radicals. Radicals is not that easy. Sometimes it's crazy topic too. But we're going to more practice on the next class if we needed to. But let's take a 10 minutes break, and then we'll catch up with the next set of the problem. Next setup there. Okay. Are you guys have any questions that you want either ask me or anything like that? Let's see. Any questions for me, guys? How's the school going? And also just in case, I just want to let you know, if you're struggling with anything with your school concepts, and we do have the regular tutoring for the calculus or pre-cal, whatever the courses you guys take, and we do have those regular classes during the weekdays. And weekends we do this one, but and weekdays is that, okay? So, but don't hesitate to ask, because I don't want any of my students, like including you guys too. I tell my students to don't wait until you are in a position like you're failing the test. It's better if you don't understand something, reach out to your parents and tell them like, mom or dad, okay, I need some help. More than happy to, we can set it up or something we can do, as a parent. I mean, including my daughter, I'll tell her to don't wait until you fail or something like that. If you don't understand, just let us know. So what we can do, I can help. Like I put her some English classes. So it's the same thing like that. Okay. But anyways, take a little break and then we'll see you guys in a minute. Okay. All right, let's get started. Okay. Now look into the modifiers effectively and how do we take care of these modifiers effectively. And that's what we're gonna look at today's writing portion. Now, first of all, let's talk about the participles and dangling principles or dangling participles. So what does that mean? And then how do we take care of that? Okay. Now let's see, I'm gonna put a one quick question here. I want you guys to find out and which one is the right sentence on this case, or which one do you feel it is correct? And then we can talk about and what does the participle phrase means and what's a dangling principle mean or participle means. So we can talk about that right now. Okay. Any volunteers to read this one? Should I can ask somebody. Yeah, Faizan, please. Thank you.
Which is correct? A. Widely considered one of the most challenging pieces for piano, Franz Liszt stretched the boundaries of musical technique with his etude number 5. Widely considered one of the most challenging pieces for piano, Franz Liszt's etude number 5 stretches the boundaries of musical technique.
Okay. Now look at these two and then tell me what you guys think is the best answer for this one. You can put them in the chat box too. Okay. Okay. I see some really good answers. Okay, good. Now, if I look at this one, yeah, I see some of you guys are still typing. So yeah, keep putting up there so that we can see what else you guys think. Okay. Now, in this case, if I look at it, sentence A, this one has a dangling participle. Okay, the past participle considered. If you look at it carefully, the considered right here, it requires a subject. Okay, it requires a subject. Like for example, say the participle phrases like don't include their own subjects. Okay, they must like borrow or like you need to have something from the main clause. If you look at it. Okay, so let's say what is the subject of the participle? You know, so that's what exactly that is considered one of the most challenging pieces of the piano. If you look at that. Okay. Now, when it comes to this one, obviously this second one, which is B, which is really, I mean, like that one, it avoids that. In this case, B is the right answer because the subject of the main clause should also be the subject of the participle phrase. So in that case, B is the best answer for this case. But for example, what does the participle means anyways? Like we need to know what is a participle. What do you guys think? Put them in the chat box. What's a participle means? What is it? Put them in the chat box, whatever you guys think. Can you guys hear me? Yes. Yeah. Okay. There you go. I can see some coming up. That's good. Word describes something. That's okay. Nice. And okay, that's good. Nice. Whatever you guys think, it's wrong or right, it's fine, but I'm gonna give it to you the answers anyway. But I want you to see what you guys think. Okay. Next step two. Okay. Nice. Good. So the participles are nothing but they're a form of the words. Okay, the word forms. Like a broken, like thinking, and then these cannot stand by themselves as a word. Okay, so those cannot stand by self as a words. Okay, they They're only the part of the verb. So that's reason its name is called participle. Okay. So for example, like in for instance, we can say like, that we can't stay basically. Okay. Like for example, these ones like a broken or the thinking, and those are not the, the verbs, but it's like a part of the verbs, we can say it. Okay. So the participles are the form of a verb, and they cannot stand by themselves as a verbs. Okay, so that's what is the participles means. When it comes to the participle phrases, begins with a sentence, the subject should be the subject of the main clause that follows. Okay, otherwise, what we call is, this is called the dangling principle. Okay, otherwise, it's called dangling principle. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about right now today quickly. Now, let's say if I write something like she broken the plate. Now, if I look at this one, she broken the plate, it doesn't make sense. So each participle requires a helping verb to complete the verb phrase and to make it sense, make it sensible clause. So what do I need in this case in order to make it's a complete sense? Okay, good. Right. So I can add she has broken, right? If I want to add it, okay. She has broken the plate. That's good. And also she had broken the plate. Also, that's good. So you need that helping verb. You need, this is the helping verb in order to get the sensible, so it's a makes sense to us. Same way, let's say if I write we thinking about you. Okay, so we thinking about you. So obviously, we thinking about you doesn't stand itself. So, and then what we need is we need something like a helping word. So right here we can say we were thinking about you. So that makes more sense out of these. In this case, like these broken and thinking, these are called the participle phrases. Okay, so that is the really important piece in this one. We can taking care of this. Now we can check some of the participles. When it comes to the participle, there are present participles and past participles, and we can talk about that right now. Now let's talk about the present participles. Present participles. Now, present participles, examples like, can you guys give me some examples of the present participles? Give me some examples. Present participles. I have my extended monitor here. Okay, I can see. Okay, like eating. Okay, fighting. And interrupting. Okay, anything is like mostly they end with the ing. Okay, these you can see as a present participles. Okay, so and that's the mostly you see them like ending with the ing. So yeah, so those are called present participles. Next one is the past participles. They have two categories in this case. Okay, so there are two categories in this one. One is regular, and the other one is called the irregular. Okay, so when it comes to the past participles, or it could be irregular and could be irregular ones. Like for example, if I say straightened or pushed, so they end up with ed. Okay, so if you see any past participles with a regular, they you see them end with the ed. Okay, but if you have something like irregulars, like for example, been or eaten or fought, so these are the irregular past participles, and also seen. So like for examples of these, okay? So and then we can see more irregular past participles as we go through, okay? So we use a present participles like with helping verb, like to be, like in the verbs like progressive aspect. So we talk about progressive aspect in coming days, but again, so the progressive aspects means I am 18. Okay, so that means that something is happening. I had been eating, like you started for a long time and then you still continue to eating. So those are called progressive aspects. Okay, and also we use a past participles with the helping verb to have. It means like for example, I have eaten. Okay, or I can say like I had eaten. So those are the ones, the past participles we use that verbs to. Okay, those are the ones we use it, those helping verbs to be part of the make to continue to make a more sense out of them. Okay, and when if you see a participles, you see them on the given passage without the well helping verbs, they act as a adjectives. Like for example, participle phrases. Mm, let's say we are designing a user interface. Okay, so we're designing a user interface. A software engineer should focus on simply. So those are the ones that's kind of like participle phrases, but again, that doesn't need any helping words in them. Okay, so those are the basic idea behind the participles and the dangling principle participles, and that's a basic idea on that one. And also important thing is like we need to know where do we need to place the modifiers. Okay, so the next one we can talk about the modifiers. Let's see, we can look into some other questions also. So I'm going to put a one question here, and then we can see which one is the better one, and then we can practice a couple of questions on these. So we should be good to go. Let's see. Still good. Okay. Good. Bhavani, can you please read this one for us, please?
A. In an emergency, I am amazed at how calm Marco can be. B. I am amazed at how calm Marco can be in an emergency.
Okay. Now put a right answer for this one for me and see what you guys think. Okay, that's good. Okay, so yeah. So if you look at it, this one, what does the prepositional phrase in an emergency, okay, that's going to be modified. So if you look at it, uh, the question is like, when can Marco be calm? Okay, rather than when can I be amazed? Okay, so if you look at these questions, if you, let's say, if since it is the modifies the second verb rather than the first one, so if in that case is, if you see the sentence B makes more sense. I am amazed at how calm Marco can be in an emergency. Okay, the first one, it says, first sentence, it says, in an emergency, I am amazed at how calm Marco can be. But if I look at it carefully, the prepositional phrase in an emergency to modify, and then that one is like, we don't know, like, is the answer, the questions is like, when can be, or when Mark can be calm, or rather the when I can be amazed. So those the things we need to be checking carefully. And in this case, B is the better answer in that case. Let's say if you have a modifier or the modifying phrase, that always be placed close to as possible the word modified without disrupting the sentence. It's called law of proximity. I think remember the law of proximity, we talk about the number sense too. Similarly, this one also. The one should be placed close as possible to the word that modifies without the disrupting the sentence. Okay, remember that also. And the modifiers or the modifying phrases that violates the rule, they're called the misplaced modifiers. Okay, if anything that violates it, it's misplaced modifiers, that we call them. Already, that's good. Let me see. Let's try one or two questions like on this one. Let's look at it, another sentence, and see which one you guys think it is a little better. Okay, let's see. Naitik, can you please read this one for us?
Yeah, which is correct. C, a splendid example of synthetic cubism. Picasso painted three musicians in the summer of 1924. D, Picasso painted three musicians, a splendid example of synthetic cubism in the summer of 1924.
Okay, so which one do you guys think it is a little better answer for this? Okay, that's good. I see some answers coming up. That's good. Okay, yeah, that's good. So yeah, definitely that is correct. And then D is the best answer in this case. And if I look at it carefully in this one, what does the phrase is splendid, you can see this is the splendid example of the synthetic cubism is going to be modified with, okay, apostrophe phrase, we can say. And if the question, what is the three musicians, rather than who was Picasso? Okay, since that modifies the second one, or second noun, and the choice D is the best answer. Very clear, this one? So if you look at a positive phrase, if you see that a splendid example of synthetic cubism, what's going to be modified? Okay, so if the answer to the question is like, what is the three musicians, rather than who was the Picasso, right? So since it modifies the second noun, not the first one, so in that case, if you can see, this D is the best choice on these cases. Okay, let's look at a infinitive phrase, the next one, another example for this. And let's see, next question. So all these techniques, as you guys go through, kind of like remember those things. They will help you when you do those passages in the writings. Okay, so that way you can choose the right answers on them, and we can do some practice right now in a minute. Let's see, any volunteers to read this one, or should I can ask Pranjal?
Wait, can you hear me?
Yeah, please. Yes.
Okay. Which is correct. E, to illustrate his point, we watched Mr. Genovese take out a giant boa constrictor, or F, we watched Mr. Genovese take out a giant boa constrictor to illustrate his point.
Which one do you guys think is a little better answer for this one? And one thing you understand in coming to the reading and writing, they never say a right answer. They always says the best answer or the better answer, because it's the other ones make sense, but you have to choose the best answer out of that. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, if I look at the illustrative or illustrate, to illustrate his point, what is going to be modified? It answers the question, why did he take it out? Rather, why did we watch it? Okay. So why did he take it out rather than the why did we watch it? So since it is modifies the second word rather than the first one, I think is the choice. The F is the best answer for this one. Okay. So since it is the modifies the second word rather than the first one. So the sentence F is the best answer for this one. Okay. So let's, before we move on further, let's do a little bit of practice on this one. And we're gonna rewrite the, I'm gonna give you some questions. There is some underlined portion on them. I want you to guys to rewrite it, the underlined portion, and use it, correct dangling or any misplaced modifiers. Okay. So let me see, I'm gonna just put a one question here, and then we can and try to work on the other ones as we go through. Okay. So a little practice right now. Okay. So I want you to guys answer. Okay, it's coming up. Okay, so I want you to rewrite the underlined portion, and if necessary, you can use it. Correct any dangling or the misplaced modifiers on the underlined word. Try to write it in the chat box and see what you think. Okay. You can focus on this one and then here. Also, I can add, or probably let's answer this one right now here. If I can put it as I rounded the bend. Okay, so that's going to be a good answer if I use it as I. Okay, that's good. I see some other ones too. That's good. Okay. See that this one that I put them on, is that make sense to you guys? That's good. I like that. As I rounded the bend. That's good. How about let's try one more, and then I'll let you guys to practice a couple of them. It feels like I'm in 2000, close to 2000. It's loads and loads and loads. I remember the first time when I bought my computer, like it's so big, like a massive computer. It was the monitor. That was the monitor, and I still have a little big tower next to it. And when I opened my Gmail or Yahoo, I think it's Yahoo Mail at that time, it opens and loads and loads, and after 1 minute, I can pop up my emails. Like it feels the same. Okay, let's look into this one, guys, and focus on the underlined words. And I want you to guys try to come up with you can rewrite it, the underlined portion. And if you want to, change anything, you want to correct any entangling or misplaced part, modifiers, try to check it, see what you guys think. Okay. That's good. I like that. Okay. So, yep, I see some good answers coming up. That's good. Yeah, really like that. So I think I can change this one. So some of you guys already put it up there. Claudius sword, or Claudius unsheathed his sword. That's another way you can put it too. I like it. Good answers, guys. Good job. Okay, awesome. So we got some little practice to do. What I'm gonna do, let's see. I have a practice on this one. Okay, so on the chat box, I am going to put a link, and this one has the, so there is a place you can answer those questions. Let me put it for everyone meeting. There we go. So okay, so I want you to guys go ahead and then open that one, and you have some Google form, and you can just answer those questions on the chat and then put them up there, so that way we can check, and then I can send you guys some of the key also for that, so you can check your answers on your own. Okay, so let's spend some time on this one, and then try and work on those questions right now. If you have a hard time in opening that, let me know, or any struggle with that. This way I will get some idea like where you guys are in terms of that, and then we can put something in place also. It seems like there are 18 questions. 37. Yeah, let's take this 10 minutes, and then I'll send you the key also for you guys, so you can check your answers. But again, and try to work on those questions as fast as you can. I added more materials this week. I took out some old ones and I added more materials this week. There is one PSAT practice test. Please practice that one. Take some time, add that study log, so that way I can see like how much time, it helps you how much time I'm spending on this one. Okay. I understand as in you guys are doing the really, really hard work. I mean, and you can be in one of the parties and then playing, dandiya or whatever, but you're here to choose to hear. I really appreciate that your time. But so that's what makes difference. That's what that's how we got the people. They got the perfect scores and also get a good scores on there too. Give me 1 second, guys. My daughter is at the door. I gotta open the door. Okay, give me 1 second, please. Sorry about that. Quickly, I added those things also there, guys. Practice problems are there, and then lesson-wise practice also there. Okay, so please try and ask me if you have any questions. Send me an email if you need more practice papers or anything like that. I'm more than happy to send those too. Okay, if you have questions on how to access your materials, please stand by. Otherwise, you guys have a wonderful weekend, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Sakit. Take care, guys. Krishna, I can wait for a minute. I can show you the portal information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, bye, Ryan.
Bye.
Bye, Ara. Take care, man. Bhavani, questions? Okay, Krishna, do me a favor and can you open your student portal?
Oh yeah. 1 second.
Yeah. Let me see.
Yeah, I opened it.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to stop this one.